Good morning, children. This is Aniruddha, Mount Z School Jhansi. As in previous section, we were talking about the 5th chapter of NCERT Biology book, 12th class. Here today we are going to talk about monohybrid cross, as I was talking about the Mendelian laws. And I had explained monohybrid cross also, that when the cross is done between one characters only, then it is known as monohybrid cross. Okay, what Mendel actually did, he crossed one tall plant with one dwarf plant and collected the seeds obtained from these two plants. And then he grew all the seeds, and they were the progenies of first F1 generation. These were the progenies of first F1 generation. And he observed those plants, and the similar observation he found in other pairs of traits also, apart from the height gene. He found in color gene also, he found in shape gene also. Okay, now when Mendel crossed these children of F1 generation again by doing the self pollination, he found that a proportion of 1/4, he found proportion of dwarf plant is 1/4 and tall plant is 3/4. That means it was 3/4. Okay, now 3/4, sorry, it was 3/4. And when Mendel crossed these F1 generation progenies, when they were self pollinated, he found in F2 generation all the children, those who were produced, all the progenies or the plants, those who were produced, the proportion was the dwarf plant was 1/4 and the tall plant was 3/4. So, on the basis of these two observations, he gave two laws. Before I tell about the laws, I must tell you that the characters which are passed from one generation to another, before the advancement of science, before the discovery of chromosomes, Mendel was not aware of these chromosomes and these genes. So he called them factors, the things which pass from one generation to another and carries the character that is known as factor according to Mendel. Now, after the development of science, now we call them as genes. Every gene has two alleles. This is also a point to notice, that every gene has two alleles. Every gene contains two alleles. Every gene contains two alleles. So, every gene contains two alleles. So, here is, I am talking about height. If I talk about height, so height has two alleles. One is known as capital T, one is known as capital T and other is known as small t. They both are represented by capital T and small t. In the same manner, color gene, if the flower is red color, then another flower will be white color and white color will be represented by small r. So these are alleles. Now, if one more thing I must tell here, that every diploid animal such as human beings, we have two chromosomes in one single cell inside nucleus, and these two chromosomes can contain both the side the same allele or they may contain both the side different allele. So when they contain same allele on both the chromosome of 23 and 23, then they are known as homozygous chromosomes. And when on both the 23 the allele of height is different, such as one allele is capital T, one is a small t, then the chromosome is known as heterozygous chromosome. Okay, now one more thing I must explain here, that when any individual carries capital T both the side of 23 chromosome, then he is known as tall. And when it carries one capital T on one chromosome and another small t on another 23 chromosome, then its characteristic is again tall. Okay, and when both the chromosomes have small t, then the character is dwarf. So why this is also tall, why this is also tall, this is what we are going to read in this chapter today in Mendelian first law, okay, which is known as the law of dominance, which is known as the law of dominance. Here is the law of dominance, the principles of inheritance and the law of dominance we are going to talk about. Okay, so the law of dominance, it states that characters are controlled by discrete units called as factors. According to Mendel, today they are known as genes. Factors always occur in pair. Factors always occur in pairs, such as capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, small t, small t. That means two pairs will always remain there. In a dissimilar pair of factors, one member of pair dominates the other. The point is, one member of the factor dominates the other. Try and understand. If capital T, I already told you that capital T and capital T, this is one pair. Characters always are controlled by units, and units are always in a pair, such as I have 46 chromosome, it is in the form of 23 chromosome. So 123 will contain 1 T and another 23 will contain 1 T. Okay, that is why it is said that genes are always, or the alleles or the factors are always found in pair in one individual inside one single cell. So number one is this. Number second, what Mendel told, that dissimilar pair of pairs, one factor dominates the other. Now what happens, the capital T if capital T is found on 123 chromosome and small t is found on another 23 chromosome, then the character of capital T will come and small t characters will be suppressed by the capital T. So capital T dominates the small t and gives its character in the individual, in the baby, in the child, in the progeny. Okay, how it can be shown by a representation. So Mendel did not give any representation, as I had told you in the previous sessions that Mendel was a mathematician, so he gave entire conclusion in mathematics. He did not give any representation of factors. So here there was a scientist known as C. Punnett. He gave the representation of Mendelian laws. So he made square shaped representations like this. See, such as I am crossing one person, one plant tall with one plant small. Okay, the small plant and the tall plant, they both will make two pollen grains, two kinds of pollen grain, two kinds of egg cell. The male will make two kinds of pollen grain, capital T, and the female will also make two kinds of egg, small t. Okay, why? Because in sexual reproduction gametes are formed and gametes are haploid. Okay, only one T will come in one pollen grain, another T will go in another pollen grain. Okay, and in the same manner, one T here, small t will come in one egg cell, another T will go in another egg cell. So the combination of these two, the plant will be produced capital T small t, capital T small t, capital T small t, capital T small t. And remember, these were the parental generations. This tall plant and short plant, this was the parental generation. And here what we are getting now after the combination, this is known as F1 generation. These all are 4 children are F1 generation children. Okay, and these F1 generation children, okay, all are, if you see what Mendel observed, they all were tall. Just like they all were tall, just like one of the parent, not like another parent. So they all were tall like this parent. Okay, why they all were tall like this parent? Because of the law of dominance. One character dominates the other, one factor dominates the other factor. One allele dominates the other allele, and one allele shows itself and other allele becomes suppressed. So the allele which shows itself is known as dominant allele, and another one is known as recessive allele, and this law is known as law of dominance. This law is known as law of dominance. This law is known as law of dominance. Okay, that's what we are going to read today. The next law is the law of segregation. The next law which Mendel gave is the law of segregation. Here at the bottom you can see the law of segregation. This is law of segregation. Okay. Now when we have got the children of F1 generation, that means one capital, one is small, one capital, one is small. These were the children of F1 generation, if you remember. Then what Mendel did, he crossed the children of F1 generation among themselves. That means he did the selfing of these two individuals which were found from the parental generation. So he when crossed them both, they produced, again I make the Punnett square, they produced two types of gametes now. One pollen grain contained capital T and another pollen grain contained small t. And in the same manner, one egg cell of female contained one capital T and one small t. And now after selfing, he got capital T one child, capital T small t two children, and small t one child. Okay. Now if you see a bit closely, then you will find that this character resembles with the parental character first when we crossed, and this character resembles with the female of parental generation, the generation before this generation. Okay, and these two are the pure forms of character. So Mendel told that when we cross the children of F1 generation, we get again the same result of parental generation, same children of which resemble with the parental generation. That means pure alleles or pure genes come out in their pure forms, generation after generation. This is known as law of segregation. That means they separate or segregate from each other and become pure again. Okay, they become hybrid and they become pure again. So this was the law of segregation. And if you see in law of segregation, physically this plant and this plant, the three are tall. If you see closely, this plant and this plant, they are tall, and there is only one plant which is short. This is ratio 3:1. And what did we see in this? Only the physical structure from outside. So it is known as phenotype ratio. It is known as phenotype ratio. If you see the genetic makeup of these plants, so I am telling you the genetic makeup of these plants. If you see genetic makeup of these plants, then one is this, another one is this, other one is this, and last one is this, right? This is the combination. Clear? And if you see, then 1, 2, 3, physically 3 are tall, 3:1 is the phenotype ratio, I told you already. And this is capital T only, nowhere capital T is present next. This is small t only present out of these 4, and 2 are small t, capital T, small t, capital T. So these 2 are same 2. This one is different 1, and this one is different 1. This is genotype ratio. When you see the genetic structure or the genetic makeup of a plant, then you will find genotype ratio, and that is 1:2:1. So this is phenotype and the genotype ratio, and these what we called law of dominance and law of segregation we read today. Next we are going to start some other things, the deviation from the laws of Mendel. Okay, there are certain exceptions also. There are certain plants which do not follow law of dominance, law of segregation, that means Mendelian laws. So we are going to read those things in next session. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.